But the hardest part for me has been coming back here, after I've been gone for about 19 years. I've returned from my mother, and my mother alone. Yet, no matter how hard I try, this may never be my home. At least, not in my heart, if you know what I mean. To be completely honest, Liverpool just isn't really my scene. Most days since I've been here, I feel like I've been living in a dream. It's surreal, and sometimes in the worst of ways. Yet, I still have hope that soon ahead there'll be brighter days. It does have to do with culture, at least a little bit, because I tend to feel like I don't really fit in here. Like I'm just kind of an outsider, and people think I'm weird or what have you. So yeah, I think it does have a lot to do with culture. Another thing is that I've noticed British people aren't very happy and cheerful, whereas you see a lot more of that in places like Florida and California, which is where I grew up. So I'm used to that. I'm not used to people walking around miserable all the time, but that's kind of what I've witnessed here, and it does rub off on you a lot too. Even at my job, they call me Florida. They don't even acknowledge that I'm from here, so. But I don't really feel like I'm from here either. It's a strange thing. I took it for granted that Florida was really my home and my heart, because all I could think about was the fact that I wasn't born there and I wasn't an American citizen, so it couldn't be my home. I wasn't really thinking with what was in here. I was thinking more logically, like, oh, I wasn't born here, so this can't be home. But now I realize that home is where the heart is, like they say.
Nearly 3 years ago, from Middlesbrough, northeast. It's very white, not very diverse, so that was a big change. Because a lot of people say Liverpool's not very diverse, but for me it was like more than I'd ever experienced, you know what I mean? So I'd never really been around that many like different ethnicities, things like that, so it was nice for me. It was really nice. I think it's made me more aware of my ethnicity and made me kind of like come into my own person. Even just like being able to buy a plantain in the shop, something just as small as that, do you know what I mean? I feel like it's really had a good impact on me. There's somewhere for you, which for me back at home I never really had that. So it's been nice.
So I've been here for like, oh my god, it'll be 12 years this year. It's not mad. But I feel like here's more of a home than London, to be honest. When I came from London to here, I went to Mospit school and I was like, wow, I'm the only like black girl like in my whole year. And since then I kind of started to accept that Liverpool is obviously more predominantly Caucasian compared to other ethnic minorities. So when me and Amber, the other co-founder, was in university, we were like, this needs to change. And Liverpool's a great place to start is because of the community atmosphere. I know that sounds so cliche, but it's true. Like everyone's just here chilling, there's no bad vibes or anything.
My name's Stella Clark and I've lived in Toxteth all my life. And I've always felt proud of our city, regardless of whatever's gone on. Most people here are very friendly, will help you out in a crisis. They're caring and just lovely people. I've been to other places, I've been to London, and it doesn't compare at all with Liverpool. I felt that the people there would just step over you and if you were lying in the gutter, whereas here somebody would always say, are you alright there? You know, they would be good. My mum was from Liverpool and my father had come over from Ireland in I think it was the potato famine or something soft like that, and they say Liverpool is the capital of Ireland. And then in the street where I live, I've got like friends who are Pakistani and Ugandan and from Bangladesh, and they're all lovely people and lovely families and very welcoming, and they fit in lovely, and they all seem happy to be here. It's very, and we've got Polish people, Romanian people, all in the one end of the street, and it's just a nice, friendly, multicultural atmosphere. It's lovely, you know. I wouldn't have it any other way. You hear people say, oh, you know, these immigrants, and they, you know, and they're all taking over. Well, to me, it's not our world, it's their world as well. I mean, they're free to be wherever they want. You know, it's just how it is, and they're just lovely people.
I moved to Liverpool to study music 3 years ago. I always wanted to go to LIPA. I read about LIPA in my 5th grade book, my English book, when I was a kid. I don't really remember what it said, but like back home, there's quite a few like Norwegian musicians that I've been looking up to that went to LIPA and came back, and I think that was the main thing for me really. It just seemed like a good place to be. I really like the city. Like ever since I moved here, I've just fallen more and more in love with it. But it wasn't before I got a job that I really felt like I was like a part of the community, because I was actually giving something back. Like being a musician starting out, I've always felt welcomed, especially like initially in the open mic communities. And there's just a bunch of lovely people who actually like listens to what you want to say. Yeah, but I can't speak for everyone, but personally I've always felt included. Yeah, there's loads of Norwegian students coming to LIPA, and they usually come to Liverpool, they do their degree, and then they move on and they move to Oslo or wherever. And I don't know where that is. Like, to me, I think they're missing out, and I've personally decided to stay.
Like, yes, being a Black Scouser is still, for some reason, adjacent to the immigrant experience, even though, as you say, Black people have been in Liverpool for hundreds of years. I was born here, grown up here. It's still sort of having that marker of difference. It's still sort of assumed that you are or may well be an immigrant, and it just colours the way a lot of your social interactions. So people often say to my brother at work, like, oh, your English is amazing, like how did you learn like such good English? And it's like, obviously you lived here, grew up here, that's why you can speak English. And even things just like, yeah, having a name that sounds foreign. Like my actual name is Energite, that's like what my family call me. But like during my brother's time at school, basically my parents got tired of him having his name butchered, so we were like given English names just to make the experience like a little bit easier, sort of thing. So it's, even though it's still very connected to the immigrant experience, even if it isn't directly like my lived experience. For like second generation, third generation people, it's kind of the reason why the toxic rights happened when they did in the 80s, because it wasn't first generation immigrants, it was second generation immigrants who felt that, no, I am English, so why, you know what I mean, why am I not being afforded the same rights as my fellow Englishmen? Like, it's, you know what I mean, it causes this backlash, and you have like this dual identity that you're sort of walking a tightrope. But like, I think if you come here as a first generation immigrant, to a certain extent, people can just be happy with whatever they get, and they know that they're coming they're coming for a better life, and they, you know what I mean, you do just sort of take what you can get, and you don't feel as emboldened to sort of make noise to a certain extent, whereas compared to like a second or a third generation immigrant who feels as though, I am English, this is what I am owed as, you know what I mean, a member of the society, and I'm not getting it.
حدودا الان 4 سال میشه اومدم انگلیس. 3 سال اول بیرمنگام زندگی میکردم. دلیلایی که خیلی باعث شد بیشتر راغب بشم بخوام موو کنم، جابجا بشم بیام لیورپول، اتمسفر خود شهر بود. همیشه ونیوهایی که میومدم اینجا لیورپول میومدم با دوستم فرهود میرفتیم ونیوهای مختلف. جوی که داشت، حتی تیم فوتبالش، من خودم یادم اولین پوستری که روی دیوار اتاقم بود قهرمانی لیورپول بود سال 2005. و آدمایی که خب طی این سال‌ها اومدم و رفتم از بیرمنگام باشون آشنا شدم. شروع کردیم کار کردن، همین تیم منطق که الان چند سالی هست داریم کار میکنیم. در کل فکر میکنم از اون موقع که جابجا شدم اومدم لیورپول یه فصل جدید تو زندگیم شروع شد. شروع فصل نو، شروع جدید من، یه سر و دو دلی غم، سالا نمیاد و میره پاییز پاچه سیاه، دود آتیش خاموش سر صبح لب آبم، طلوعو میبینه چشمو که هنو توی خوابم، اگه خیال کله میذاره میره میپره، چرا عصبی بازم من با خودم منو گمم، تو رو به جا نمیارم، منو مسیر رو میرم دوباره میره یادم، چشم منو بازم ولی اسیر چراغم، لب خندونه دیگه چرا بی دل و دماغم، شاید تقصیر تو، شاید تقصیر من، یکیمون میشه کم.